Hello, hello. Doesn't say it's not working. Come on, it can't hear me. I have to reset it. Ah, just see. Jody, can you hear me? Seems like I'm having some technical difficulties. Okay. Then I'll thank you. Then I'll continue. Never enough bell. Never enough bell. Ah. Guten morning. If you've never checked me out before, my name is Eight Wind is Timeless, and this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. Welcome, one and all. I am the holder of the infinite. I'm gonna use what Siova said. I am the holder of the infinite ball game created by the Hero Twins. I am your galactic daddy-o, and as Jody Husky said, I am sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe, and I take nothing less. And tonight, our sponsor is Drakkar, for the man that has nothing. And the ale for tonight is Alaskan Amber. So pop them if you got them. Drink them, smoke them if you want them. See if I can not have another. Okay, there we go. Just knocked a bunch of shit down a second ago. So as I said, Jody, what's happening? Thank you for joining me. Brother Ryan, Sebastian, James Gant. Yeah, my cousins, they spell their name with one G. Hey PJ, what's happening? Great show the other night. We talked. PJ. Hey, yeah, Siova was saying he called it the infinite ball field. And I'm like, I'm taking that. He called it the infinite ball field. Not taking that. And so I've got sugar out on my arm. I done broke out with some shit. So I put this shit on there. I want you thinking, this mug ain't showered or some shit. No, this is some lotion and oils. Something bit the shit out of me. I'm still trying to figure it out. So I don't want somebody saying, what's the black shit on your arm? He's a junkie because he's got black shit all up and down his arm. Yeah, no. But something did bite the shit out of me, no doubt. So it wasn't itching or nothing. It was just noticing. So I tried different creams and I was like, shit, I got all this stuff. So I applied it to it. So I do got some notes on shit. And I'll tell you, out of all the sports that I really don't get, I really don't get soccer. I mean, I see how they rig it, and man, this dude got 2 yellow cards during the tournament. They was like he was going to be out of the next game. I guess they take their yellow cards. I know for red card, they put them out, but I just don't really comprehend. I don't know. It's hard for me to comprehend. Like, I understand hockey and the lack of control of the ball, and that's probably where I see the problem is, because you can't really control the ball. Less so, I think, in soccer than even hockey. Hockey, at least with and I imagine when people run and are dribbling it, but I don't get it. It's some long shit. Like, I don't get why on an injury ain't no timeout. They keep running the shit. What's the point of that? What's the point of running the time while somebody's hurt? And I'll say this: when soccer players get hurt, they bring the goddamn stretcher out and they stretcher their ass out. It was 2 or 3 dudes, and I'm guessing they had cramps or some shit. And these dudes got these little dudes to start with. Like, these dudes was 5'6", 5'5", and they was putting them on the stretcher, sitting up on the stretcher. If you okay enough to sit up, damn if I'm stretching you and out. If you can sit up, you can get your ass up and walk. Hey, Crazy Sarge, thank you for joining. Sean, what's happening? Have you seen the first episode of Power? No, I haven't. I have to check that out. I haven't watched it yet. The 50 Cent biop, the real biop, where he said, I thought Rick James killed my mama. That shit, we'll see. All these people want to be dope dealers, saying they was all dope dealers, and some of these motherfuckers ain't old enough. They really ain't old enough. Like, I'll say this with Al Prophet. If you watch Al Prophet stuff, you see that YBI was heroin dealers. Like, these dudes was heroin dealers in the 80s. This is before crack really came through. They was heroin dealers. So it's interesting, the idea, that everybody just switched over to crack. That ain't really true everywhere. And one thing you have to understand about Detroit, and what makes Detroit so effective, or used to be, Detroit's part of the Sioux Locks. Like, you can take the locks and you can damn near go to New York from Detroit. You can take a boat in Detroit. It'll take you all the way to New York. It'll go through the Sioux Locks. It'll go through around Lake Erie, and that shit will take you where you can take, the Hudson River? You can take the Hudson River all the way. So that's why Michigan, like I said before, as far as the drug business, Michigan was way ahead of Chicago. Because just look at Chicago. Look at how things have to come to Lake Michigan if they come by boat or container. They got to go all the way around, or you got to send something up the Mississippi River over, or you got to take it by train. That shit is slower. Whereas Detroit has a direct connection to New York. So, yeah. Hey, there she is, MJ. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the kind words. So that was just some observations, just checking that shit out, had me laughing. That just had me laughing. I only took a couple notes. Here's a funny one for y'all. Now this just tell you how motherfuckers be. Like you could tell motherfuckers ain't never really met motherfuckers. Like you can see certain cats ain't met a lot of motherfuckers. As I mentioned before, Michael Jordan's brother went to A&T. Larry played hoop with us in intramural. I've met a lot of people. I ain't really like, I don't know. It's like these are just regular motherfuckers. But apparently Lord Jamar pulled out Zach's book and Zach was all giddy on his show and shit. This nigga was giddy. and what did Silva say? No shade, no shade. But it was just interesting that this motherfucker was giddy. I wouldn't care if Obama commented on my shit or Obama said he watched me or whoever the fuck. That shit wouldn't make me giddy. That nigga was giddy. He was giddy over that shit. So that's teach his own. As y'all checking out college, they are looking like they're trying to push the college boys for the drip. I don't know if y'all checking it out. They are pushing that. They are pushing that. So I don't know if anybody caught that today, but they are pushing them. They ain't no thing yet. Milwaukee Bucks in 6, just like Miami Heat in 2006 over Mavs when they were down 0-2, won 4 straight, the same playoff. The Suns beat Lakers, Clippers just like this year. Good breakdown. I've said years past that money-wise, it would make more sense to have a game 7. I still dare say the Suns win game 6, and they're going to force a game 7. Suns, and that's a good decode, and I feel you on that, because you could also say the same thing like with the Dallas series. Remember, Dallas won the first 2. Remember, Dallas won the first 2, and then the Heat won the other 4. So is that the same thing? 06, that's the same thing? Yeah, that's the same thing. But what was the other one? It was another one like that. Oh, Dr. J and the 76ers. Dr. J and the 76ers was like that too. Dr. J and the 76ers lost. They beat the first 2 games of Bill Walton and the Blazers, and they came back and lost 4. They came back and lost 4 the same way in 76. And that basketball, more than any other basketball, made me look at the leagues and say, this can't be real. This can't be real. That team, like, look at all the look back on that series where Dr. J is dunking on Bill Walton, and what's his name, number 30? I used to know his name, Granger maybe, and Dr. it was the whole series. And I've said about when it came down to the doctor doing his work, they get a ball to McGinnis that had a terrible series purposely. Dr. J lost 3 finals? Dr. J only won 1 NBA final. I want to say he lost 3 or 4 himself. He only won the 1 in the NBA. He won 2, lost 2. So same kind of, I dig you. And I remember even saying that when, what was it? The first one with the Spurs and the Pistons. I think the Spurs first one. I was thinking it just made sense to let the Pistons win 1 and go another game. I said that just made money sense, but we'll see. We'll see. Now I think they could end it and then blend everything into the Olympics full bound. That's what I'm wondering is that's what they're trying to do, because Olympics still don't start to the 27th. So even if the decode probably would come off that they ended, just like the hockey ended it early. I could see that. I could definitely see that too. But I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they built up Chris Paul so much last game. As I said when I was on a couple of days ago, that gave me the pause. That made me pause, like, why are they building him up so much? But as I said before, he ain't on State Farm for 5-6 years because he won. Not because he won. And that's usually what happened. When people win, they put him out there. But they didn't happen. And I want to say this. Even if they're not on, crazy how people don't see the lovable loser CP3 with the deer commercial. Yeah. We brought that up for months. Yeah, definitely the deer destroyed his shit. And look how they did it. And as I was saying, when they was highlighting him, they was showing him point shade. That cracked me up. I'm like, here they are point shaving, and this is the thing too. Like I said, the Globetrotter play, the play I posted, my last post, I showed you because he had a breakout, and I'm telling you, it was a Globetrotter play. I've watched the Globetrotters do the same thing. Instead of him sprinting towards the basket, being a threat, he dribbles back, and then Paul George don't stay in front of the man. He's not a threat till he go to the basket. You might have some help coming back running by then. But that ain't. Chris Paul went right. I mean, I'm telling you, they with the earbuds, they move them like chess pieces, or they move them like that electric football. That's how they do in the earbuds. You go here, you go there, you catch the ball, you drop the ball, you kick the ball out. And like I showed with Booker, Booker went 1-on-3 and turns his back. What are you taught as a point guard? You never turn your back. So he didn't take the easy shot. He went in the lane to get it stowed like that. Because when he turns around, the ball's presented like this. And he does pull it back, but he presents it like that. So that's point shaving. That's point shaving. And that if that play alone don't show you that it's fixed, I don't know what is. What else would be? So it's just entertainment. It's just entertainment. But I'm going to say this. If they're not listening, I'm going to get into this. See over the technician and keep a techie. They are, I want people to understand this. For everything that's going on today, see over the technician and keep a techie are just as important to our young people as Bobby Hemmett. I mean, what Bobby Hemmett did to occultists and spiritualists, what is needed now is more understanding of this presentation. And these two people, and there's more, but these two people specifically are able to relate it as the same way that Bobby was able to relate occult and spirituality. And so I wanted to say that. Watching See Over, I watch him all the time. And I watch Keeping Techie, and it just, what they are giving, and this is just going to be more of this. As they said, the world going to be ending outside somebody's window, and somebody going to be on this shit talking about it. There's movies where they watching like Godzilla's coming, and the first one it's lights out for these motherfuckers, and this motherfucker still reporting. Movies show that shit. Or motherfucker, remember the tornado movie in LA? The billboard wipes the dude away. He's like interviewing and shit, and he gets wiped away. It's that kind of shit. And so I wanted to put that out in the ethers. These two brothers are very important to the community because you can sit down young people and say, well, this is what he's working on today. He's talking about equipment. Take heed of equipment that you might be able to afford or alternatives. We need that. We need that. So wanted to put that in the ethers. CP with that loser walk. Oh, yeah. CP3, was that shooting at the ballpark in D.C. about power or something? I don't trust these mugs. I don't trust them. I do not trust them. And so when they report shit like that, you know who did the shit. It ain't no mistake. Who doing all the shootings around the country that's pissed off? We know who's doing that shit. That ain't no mistake who's doing all that. But welcome, Jeffrey. We know who's doing all that shit. When there's some bullshit shooting like that, it ain't no crazy motherfucker. You know how? Okay, think about it. How far do you have to park away to go to stadiums? You've got to park blocks motherfucking away. How do you get into a stadium nowadays with any kind of gun? Ain't really no fence you can stick the gun under. It's either the gun is planted. Do you dig? The gun could be planted, but again, it had to be planted by somebody connected to the stadium. So I listened to that shit and I'm like, yeah, they on some bullshit. They on some bullshit. But yeah, hey, King Kane, definitely the loser walk. He got that shit down. He got the mad loser walk. Watch if they lose tomorrow and they get on CP3. He's a lovable loser. That's all. And I don't see that breaking with him. That's why I know I called James Harding. Of all the shit I called the Nets right. I told you, long as Harding was on the team, they definitely ain't gonna win. So I called that one. Oh, what's happening, Sebastian? Hey, Rodney. Cappy Pondexter accusing LeBron James of trafficking just came down the pipe in news. Nervous breakdown. Okay. So LeBron was pimping. Why would LeBron have to pimp? Who would he have to pimp? Who would LeBron have to pimp? I don't get that. Like, why? It sounds like all that shit they were saying on T.I. Of all the time he got, he's pimping girls, huh? So this is the dirt they finally gonna bring him down. And then he gonna have to get on. Like, to me, if LeBron has to just apologize, he should just full out Don Juan suit on these motherfuckers and really look like a pimp. So that doesn't make sense. Yeah. So if that's the tarnish they want to put on him, we'll see, Rodney. I don't know how they just saying that was the fear part of getting power in there on the field. Okay. It's getting bad in South Africa. Well, that's South Africa. I'm not keeping. When Mandela and shit, and they was making the movies, I really okay. I look at it like this: why didn't you fight until everybody died? That's the point. And really, that should have happened in America. Really, they should have fought from day one. They should have just went after Europeans till everybody died. Not give up. It should have just been constant fighting. 400 years of fighting. What year they come? Columbus, 14, some shit. Should have just been fighting constantly. Everybody, just fight. Island should have went from island to island. Say, these motherfuckers here, let's just fight them. That's what Haiti did. They was going to fight them till they all died. Then motherfuckers get comfortable. That's the Europeans, Well, you guys give up. We'll be comfortable. Let you be comfortable. We'll attack you every now and then, but basically you can be comfortable. I said the same thing. Rodney, yeah. Yeah, Mandela was an actor. Is the meaning of life to explore one's self? No, that shouldn't be the whole meaning. I mean, you have to know yourself more than explore. You got to know yourself. That's the meaning. Is know the God in you. Know the God in you, and know you. As I've said many times, one of the things in the thing of the magicians, one of the episodes, Julia's in a room and there's a million of her going both ways. She's in line waiting for some shit. And what the point is when you know yourself, you all stand together. Like you can't have when you put yourself out on both sides, you can't have some in the back, some in the front. No. You look down the line, all them motherfuckers is you. All of them is you. So you take that in. And so you have to know yourself. But that does come with maturity. So, but after you know yourself, then the way you move, is new ways to explore. It's energies around you. It's how you affect people around you, how you're affected with certain environments, working and all that shit, negative people and energy vampires, all these kind of things. It's like when people date, they don't look at all that. They don't look at the energy part of it. Like, is this person draining me? Am I giving this person, a charge? And am I getting drained? So yeah, that's part of it though. And that's the thing that here I am 60 and I'm still learning. So it's never too old to learn, but could take you a lifetime to understand yourself. But love yourself. Everybody, love yourself, no doubt. So that's the best way. Hey, Reese, thank you for joining. Riots out there over food is insane. Okay, Jeffrey. See, I don't care. I mean, that's another fear thing to make you care about some shit. I don't care about over there. They was talking about taking the land with no payback. What the fuck happened with that? What happened to taking the land with no payback? Who they fighting? There's only one enemy that would be over there, and they ain't fighting them. Sound like they fighting each other. But I don't care. I really don't care. Reese, peace. Thank you for joining me. First Mad Max is original. What's going on in the country of Australia right now? Well, they burning them people out. Don't forget that. Pre-pandemic or during the pandemic, they was burning. They took that Max Ingram dude out, and he I didn't think he was that deep, but he was talking about the shit burning and shit like that they was doing to him. So I don't know why they took him off for talking about that, and then breaking down some of these other things that was obviously fake stories. So, and you know, I would criticize him about Australia when in fact America was probably more bloodthirsty than Australia. When it like that's the bad thing about Australia, or that's the thing about living here. And I'll say this: there's a lot of ways. It's a lot of ways to be an enemy. It's a lot of ways to be an enemy. To an enemy to something. It's a lot of ways. See, sometimes when you know what the enemy is, you go right along with the enemy. And where you can call out as the enemy, but you can still go along with the enemy and reap what the enemy puts out there. People don't truly understand war. Because if it's possible, you try to destroy something from the inside. It's harder to destroy things from the outside. It's easier to destroy something from the inside. And you're allowed to kind of pick at it. You know, we had the first president that threatened the nation. He said you couldn't take over this country without nuclear bombs and jets. Like those American pilots would listen to the president and kill their own people. I don't remember the last president that threatened the American people. The Constitution gives you the right to overthrow it. They forgot that part? They overthrew some shit. Well, that's the end of overthrowing? It can never be overthrown again? Ain't that what's up, capitalists? Constitutionalists? So that's it? The country can never overthrow it again? This is the perfect government from now on? That's it? Just happened then. Can't ever happen again. The thing turned into where, but it's based on that you can turn it around. It almost should have been put in there that every so many years you can turn this shit around. You got senators in there for life. And that's the way they set up this system. But yet they broke down the states from doing that. They stopped the states from doing that. Because, you know, I guess it would be the FBI went into the states and was sabotaging and saying the states need term limits because they didn't like the strong states. They didn't like that the people could do what them senators do in Washington State 40, 50 years. It's 40, 50 years worth of control. Our government is run by 70-year-old dudes. What you think they care about you? All these faces that this American faces is 70-year-old dudes. Hell, Obama's 60 now. Or Obama be 60 in August. That's a representation of this country. These ain't even baby boomers. These is the great generation motherfuckers. What's happening? Y'all real. What made me start a YouTube channel? What made me start a YouTube channel? I think talk shoot. I was doing the talk shoot and then the Facebook Live. Well, no, I was before. I think it was 16 when I started the first. Yeah, I think that's when I started my first one. I got on YouTube as far as subscribing to the shit in 14. I was watching it way before then. But as far as broadcasting, it was 16. And just all this information. Wanted to start passing it out. All the studies. It was a great way to debate with other people. So that's what I like. What's happening, Lorenzo? One's worst enemy is oneself. That's why self-mastery is the most valuable ultimate victory. There you go. Yes, was Pump Jesse Jackson can travel? What's happening, Edward Lorenzo? So that's why. Can you recommend a good reading material? Just depends on your thing. I mean, my thing is the Mayan stuff in South America, but so it's kind of hard. I was reading a book about Shugite. Thought I put it right here. Don't see it. And the valuable things that Shugite can do for you. So that'd be one of them. I was joking about Zach Book. Zach Book is some good information. I got the first one. I didn't get the second one. If you didn't get Zach Books, I mean, I don't disagree. I disagree about the Jesuits, but I don't disagree about the information he put out. I mean, you can use your discernment with all the things he put out, but it shows the patterns, and I definitely agree with the patterns. I love this book. If you can mess with this kind of stuff, Wombs and Alien Spirits is some bad shit. This is, a lot of people want to tell you how to astral travel. You learn this shit. You don't need to astral travel. Whoops. I mean, it just depends on what you're into. Like, this is some pre-Christian and Christian and pre-Christian stuff, the Gnostic Bible. I mean, shit, this shit gets so deep as, I don't even know if you ever heard of this shit. Damn, this shit all on me. Let me see. Like Meridian literature, 536. No. Yeah. 536. And you wouldn't think of Meridian as pre-Christian Gnostic. The Ginza. Before our worlds came into being, there was a soul enormous fruit. And when this enormous fruit entered a fruit, the great glistening king of light began. An ether of radiance existed. From the ether of radiance came the living fire. From the living fire, there was a light. By the power of the king of light came the great fruit and great life. The great fruit came alive. And in it rolled the Jordan, which is also a garden. The great Jordan came alive. The living water was in it. Luminous water came alive. From the living water, life came alive. All the urethras, the light beings, found space. When the fruit was in the fruit, and when the ether was in the ether, with the great of glorious of mana, where therefrom the powerful manas came, where radiance is enormous and light is great. No one was before them in the fruit abundant without end, whose radiance is too abundant to the words of the mouth. So that's some shit most people wouldn't come across. So I can't really say one book off the top of my head. I mean, shit. This book is probably my favorite book that I pick up every day, The Mayan Factor and the Jose Aguirre shit. And this is a simple way to try to understand the energies that come out of America and how they was copied around the world. I mean, he's a Macedo, but he don't really mislead. He don't set any traps. Like, he gives out the wave harmonic and ain't no traps in this shit. This shit is some shit you can use. Can't say everybody can use it, but I'm saying it's helpful. It's helpful. Like, you sitting there, and this is the thing that everyone has to understand. If death comes sudden or slow, just accept it. Don't try to hold on to this, because this is the trap and the tricks they give you. They try to make you want to hold on. They try to make you say that you want more time. That's not the way to die. Seeking something that is clearly vanishing. So that's not the way to go into it. As I say, to take memory into death, you just got to accept it. And really put that memory into death in your heart. So when this shit, you shoot out. As I said, one thing that fucks with this thing, when you have that kind of mindset, these motherfuckers want to keep you here. They want to keep you here. So, Aggie Pride, homecoming. Them Aggies just gonna be in a new conference. I got the second one up, about to start reading it. Yeah, Zach book ain't, I should get his second one. I got the first one. I wish I had the first one in print. Recommended source, The Gospel of Thomas. Yeah, I got that in this book too. Oh, Jesse got an award in France. I thought Jesse was fucking had to, he was out to lunch and shit. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know he got an award. What the fuck did he give him an award in France from? The Matrix is a trip. It is. It is. I mean, yeah, it is. It's a trip because that's really how you see the unrealness of it all. It really is. It really shows the unrealness. I know it's the thing. The cipher thing is like so telling. And Sly used to always, refer to cipher, and I was like, okay, but I mean, he's telling the way it really is. That is this reality. You know it ain't real, but you go through it like it's real. We really do. Even like if you're not sensitive enough to even see mistakes in this shit. Even if you do see mistakes, people just like, okay. I mean, really, this is like think about what security is. Security is you get to work, you retire, your children work, you have grandchildren, you sit there, they retire, and the same cycle is over and over and over again. That would be seeming like normal to everybody, the way it was. But when has that ever really been good? Because when it was like that, when you just automatically went through that spell, it was more brainwashed than we ever was. I mean, that's one good thing about the way things are is people are coming out of this brainwash. That's what the drip is about, is because people was waking up and not being brainwashed anymore. I mean, why are you thinking they're trying to copy words? Woke economics for liberals. Wokeism is supposed to be liberalism. You see something that was put to the spiritual side of things. Okay, The Teachings of Don Juan, Separate Reality, Journey to Oxtan by Carlos Casino. Thank you. So many desire immortality spells in place. Yes, normalized. It really is. Yep. It really is. Space Jam similar was overwhelmingly blatant. I agree. Who wins tomorrow? I would say Suns. That's what I'm thinking, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Bucks. Caden, thank you for joining. Normalized Society, thank you for joining. Recreational recess. It kind of is. Okay, Jeffrey, we moved past him. Yeah, I like even Space Jam. I really enjoyed it. Now I understood the sun thing. That let me tell you, I didn't really see the sun thing as so important because it was Leave It to Beaverish. It was Leave It to Beaverish, the part with the sun thing. It was more, it was so many old TV shows and old movies that the father's not listening to the son. Some way it's almost like the Star is Born movie. You look at one's shadows and then it's time for you to shine. It's the same thing. The Star is Born. So I wasn't impressed with any of all that, but I was blatantly offended with the Yosemite Sam, the 4'2", and clearly the final score. That offended me. And you should be offended by that shit. That shit shouldn't slide. That shit shouldn't slide at all. Everybody should be offended that LeBron James was part of that. So shit, if that motherfucker got caught pimping, fucking. You did that to our people. And like my son will say, it's quick. He says that the 4'2" Yosemite Sam longer than they showed the score. It took me about 7-8 times to do that video. I had to keep rewinding the shit, winding it back, winding it to try to get it in the right spot to watch that shit, to report that shit. That shit ain't going nowhere. Ain't nobody watching that. And that's offensive as fuck. I mean, damn, and I'll say Zach is the one that put the Jackie Robinson together. I'll give him them props. Again, I'm joking about it. I ain't hear Zach hating. The motherfuckers running back to Zach. He's hating. No, I ain't hating on Zach. Zach put that shit out there, and that is all point. And it is for the rest of us to spread that when we see that shit. And we treat it like that because that's mistreatment of our people. That's how they still disrespect us. Here they put all these millions in this shit with highlighting brothers, a brother cast. But what did I show before? Gangsters, the gangsters, the Bumpy Johnson show, not the TV one, but the one with Lawrence Fishburne in it. She's got to say all mostly melanated cast, but she got to talk about the number is something 42. Why is that? Why that shit got to be mentioned? Jackie Robinson called 42. They got a day where everybody wear 42. Why every game we watch is somebody in 24 or 42? Why they cast our stars in the 23s or the 32s, the Jim Browns, over and over again? If you in a low number like LeBron in Space Jam turned around and flashed number 6 to Bill Russell, the 33 technically. Why is that? So if you ain't mad about that part, you don't feel disrespected about that part, what the fuck you get out the shit? Really? To me, ain't none of that other shit important but the disrespect. I don't see none of that shit. Fuck that other shit. That shit ain't important as the disrespect of the 42. And other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I thought it was clever. I thought it was subtle enough not to be goofy. I liked it better than that Black Widow shit. Oh, that shit was super long. Black Widow was super long. When they talk about a movie pulling teeth, I don't want to hear all these conversations. Oh, my goodness. Black Widow, it took me 2-3 days to watch that shit. Oh, my goodness, that shit's slow. The modern day wokeism was predicted by the liberals, was predicted like 6 decades ago. Okay, I see that, Lorenzo. Yeah, MJ. He's where I'm at 42 and 59 coding on us. Yeah, exactly. I agree. And you see them numbers, and it's just throughout history is no. I mean, how do I go on Pinterest and find a team that's playing somewhere in South America and they call it the 42s? What is the odds of that? That didn't mean shit. That they just said, well, you know, guys, what name does our team need? 42. Why not? That was the goddamn name of the team. I don't know if it was on this thumbnail or maybe the other one. I can't remember. But if you look at it Pinterest, you can find that shit. Team called the 42s. There's a painting. A dude, check this out. And I showed this too. And I might have put this on Facebook, so I'll see if I can bring that back out. There was a dude who does paintings. Now let me there's 2 people that do paintings of Negro League pitchers. One dude does like the book. There's a book where one dude did all the major league. His paintings was sharper. Like the animation of the painting was a little more sharper. There's another dude, he does everybody, but everybody's softer. The lines are softer. But he shows a Negro League team, and behind them is the fucking scoreboard. And what's on the scoreboard? Of all the scores they can put of saying, taking a picture after the game, what numbers do you think was on this scoreboard? It had 4 and 2. Now, that's not a coincidence. That's a program. That's a program of shit to be acceptable. You got to put in there. And even it's subtle. It's referred to 2 times. So it's 2 times the shaming. And even though most people won't even notice it, it comes so quick. Oh, they won. Yay. I'm happy for LeBron. He beat the cartoons. Can't let that go by. We have to call that shit out. And ain't nobody calling it out but me. Special me. Ain't I special? Ain't that a bitch? Bunch of motherfuckers watch the shit. There ain't nobody calling that shit out. They said it failed at the box office? You remember the guy who played in Lovecraft Country? HBO is now playing Kang and Kang, and basically God and Loki at the end of the timeline. He controlled the whole MCU. And oh, okay, all Marvel movies is too long. Hey, if y'all don't like slow, don't watch Black Widow. It was slower than what was the one that was the box office a couple years ago? It was slower than that one, and that motherfucker was 3 hours. It was slower than that one. It might not have been as long, but it's been as slow. And to me, few minutes of action here and there don't take away from the slowness that's boring and we don't care. It's a way to have a story. You ain't got to make it boring to have a story. That's their way of doing the story to make it boring. We don't care about boring. Just fight. That's interesting, Jeffrey Lane. No, you remember what you said about the actor, right? Yeah, it is crazy. But they said it failed. Interesting. I think timing too. But like you could watch it on cable, and I think it was Disney Plus, right? It came on Disney Plus. So don't look at just the box office. The people on Disney Plus, they got to pay Disney Plus to watch it. I think they put it on Disney Plus. So I have to see how well it did. Normally I say, what do you think about people getting zapped in the phones in Space Jam? Well, do you guys remember the goofy dude? What was his name? 13th Son. Y'all remember that goofy dude? And I think by the time he quit doing videos, he made this statement. And I said this before. Goofy as he was, he made this statement. He said that there is an iPhone. It was iPhone 6, I think, when he broadcast this. And he said that iPhone 6 will make you disappear. This is what this goofy dude said. He said that iPhone 6 can make you disappear. Now, you look in the movie, the goddamn phones was making people disappear, making people go to whatever land that was. Yeah. And he said that. It was interesting. And I was like, that mug said, and that's exactly what they showed. What he said years ago. I know the dude was kind of goofy, but he said that. He said, if you had that iPhone 6, it'll make you disappear. And then this movie showed people opening up the app and disappeared. So he must have had some kind of vision or something that showed that. But yeah, so that's what it made me think about. Normalized. That's what it made me think about. That 4-hour DC movie was dope. What's movie, PJ? Which one? The 4-hour one. That movie a couple years ago. Oh my goodness. Man, my son and I got up to pee and we still had like an hour and a half. We had been in there like an hour and 45 minutes. And we had like another hour and a half or hour and 25 minutes. I went and got a beer. This is how slow that movie was. What was it called? The Avenger movie. The Avenger movie. That was like a summer or two ago. We got up. I went and peed. And where you get the bar is you got to walk on the other side of the movie theater to get, it's open, it's all open where you come in, but it's a walk. It's not a long walk, but you're walking across the theater. I went and got the beer. My son got us more popcorn. So I got the beer. He got his more soda, more popcorn. We walked back in there. These motherfuckers on the same lines. Same scene. And we was probably gone about 6 to 10 minutes. And it was the same scene. They was in the same room. And we just looked at each other like, this shit is just. So the Avengers, I thought, yeah, Endgame, that shit was slow as hell. Justice, I didn't watch that one. I didn't watch Justice. I watched a little bit of it. I didn't watch the Justice League final cut. I have to finish that one. Because they are not showing it in China either. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't watch Justice League. Ah, hell, Endgame. Wasn't an algorithm playing the devil? I heard that deep voice change. Probably was, PJ. I think so. Algorithm. I think so in a way. That's a good catch, PJ. I think he was. Because, well, you know what, though? It was also like, you know how they put the good and the bad on your shoulders? It was also like that. So it's like if the little thing, so algorithm was that, but the little thing too was kind of like the algae rhythm was the bad, but that little thing, you know how they give you the devil be on your shoulder and shit? So that little thing, that computer little thing that was flipping around, that kind of was like that too. It was like algae rhythm was bad. That little thing still had a little compassion for the people. So that's a good catch though, PJ. Yeah, I didn't finish director cut. Justice League Snyder, because the best movie of the year. I didn't finish that. Yeah, shit, man. These movie theaters up here, they got two movie theaters where they serve you anything. They'll give you dinner and everything. I mean, right where you sit down, they'll give you dinner. The West Bank has one. It's New Hope. It's one. The oldest one is in New Hope. It ain't got that many. Like New Hope is really cool for a date because you and your date sit there, have dinner, and you watch a movie while you having dinner, and you can drink. Yeah. But most of the movie theaters, you not only can you drink, you can take blankets and shit. This shit turns into a little bed in the movie theaters. Mugs be taking blankets and everything. It be it's the relax capital. It's almost like getting a massage now. You go to movie theaters, you can lay back, you can drink beer. Shit, you could probably go out and vape. You're like, hey, I'm going out to vape, during intermission. You probably could. It was like my cousin was smoking a blunt while we was at Olive Garden. He was in the parking lot. He's like, you want to hit this blunt? And I'm like, I don't do blunts, but thank you. And I forget, this shit's legal. He's like, oh, I can smoke this motherfucker anywhere. We can't smoke it in the doorway, but we can smoke it anywhere. And I forget, that shit's legal in Michigan. You can just fire up outside, of course. Yeah, we got theaters like that here in New York. Yeah, the one, yeah. What's supposed to be your conscious? What's supposed to be your conscious? Yeah, the Tomorrow War is dope. It's a trip. Tomorrow World was good. I'll say that. Tomorrow World, well, it was the same thing as Tenet, though. Not as deep, but it was a lot like Tenet, really. That's what I looked at. That idea of having to fight things in the future. But see, this is the problem. And this is why Tenet works more than Tomorrow World would work, because technically, if you move around time, you really can't change anything. So like the way they went back in the past and they destroyed it, there would be something, the way this thing is shaped, that would save part of it. So I disagree with that. If they killed that, it would totally eliminate that. It can't happen like that. It just can't, because this thing adapts. Now I know, you'll say, well, waking up, them things waking up, trying to protect themselves is how it adapts. But from what we've learned about true quantum physics is, if you go back like that the thing that moves everything adjusts, and some part of that wouldn't have been totally destroyed. So that would be, what we saw would be impossible. It would be impossible. They wouldn't have been able to figure it out. And if they were able to figure it out, something would change, would throw them off. That's what it seems like. What's supposed to be your conscious? Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, the things on your shoulder are supposed to be your conscious. Yeah. When they do alien invasions, do you think people will fall for it in the whole they made us thing? Well, that goes back to that Netflix show with the synthetics. Goes right back to that. When the synthetics catch one and he tells them, he was like, I'm a real human. You people are fake. So they telling you right there that if it's aliens, it's humans. They may put some different shit. Yeah. Because that's one thing. If you're a researcher and you're a spiritual researcher, you are seeing aliens all the time. And that was one, my friend I had on here, with the meditation. I can't think of her name right now, but that's one thing she hit me to. So if you go into the ethers and you really can get deep, you see aliens already. Like I showed this book, I see these sisters. When I see these sisters, technically they're aliens because they're able to be up in there too. So spiritual people fuck with aliens. I mean, you get into sigils, you calling that energy out to help you move through. You close your eyes and you start moving, and You're seeing aliens, no doubt. Uh, in some ways, even lucid dreaming can be looked at like that. Because like when my family comes into the dreams, it makes me wonder, or people I know, or people even in Facebook, people have come to me in dreams, and I'm like, I wonder what they needed. So technically, they're alien to my dreams, people I never met. So it's a lot of you know the word alien can mean a lot of different things. An angel would be an alien. Remember, Superman would have definitely been an alien. After we got off live, I watched Nicolas Cage movie Willy's Wonderland. Kind of creepy, and Nick didn't talk the whole movie. Wow. We kind of got that kind of set up here. Y'all fall asleep in it. Yeah. They got like some of them. The bars is in the movie theater. Like we got one in Burnsville, and if you sit upstairs, the bar is right behind you. Like you sit up in the upper row and upstairs. You sit in the upper row, you can go through the whole movie and get drinks. Yeah. That's why I understand why, you can Uber anywhere. So why drive? If you're going to drink, why drive when you can just Uber? You talk about the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. That's supposed to. Yeah, Lorenzo. Yeah. I know it's a little slow, but yeah, you're right. I remember when Eminem and Dr. Dre had the song Guilty Conscious. I love the song and video. Yeah. My dislike for Eminem is other things, but yeah. They vibe because some of these entities UFO from come from the future. So are they acting like Kang, like they're out of time? How can you stop these people who control time? That's a lot of loaded question, but I guess we're taking one at a time. I mean, so what new UFO can they bring? I mean, really, if you think about it, like what could they really bring that we would really believe? Because movies just kind of showed us how the shit gonna go. How the shit is. So what could they really put in there that we would think that it's, because it comes up with like, remember some aliens come up with the key to the drug, some drug going around. So what if the aliens said they had the thing, they had the drip, and the aliens give the answer to the drip, and all of a sudden it's not the drip that the humans make, it's the drip that the aliens make. You think motherfuckers would take the alien drip? They come in and however they come in, say they just flash in one day and they on every station, and we're like, like 9/11, we're like, they're like, we have the answer, we have the juice. And then in the middle, they say, for you melanated people, we got some fire bud. You guys can get it in the bud. Would you guys take alien bud? Would people take alien weed? Like the aliens give the drip to the Europeans and then give us alien bud? Would you guys take the alien bud? I think I would probably take alien bud. I think I would. Especially if they showed it and it was like some kind of like it was glowing and shit. I would take glowing alien. Yeah, I would take that. Like alien, you've got some good glowing bud. Thank you very much. Say they brought something from the 31st century. I still, how can we conceive it? How could you even conceive the technology? I mean, that's all it would really could have over us is technology. If a human is a human, so just some technology shit. I mean, shit's already here. Whatever they talking about is already here. Whatever they gonna bring out is already here. They know it. You should know it. They present some shit. That's why anytime the army and TV start showing this shit, they about to bring it out. Like right now, they really trying to scare and shame people. Because these numbers are saying, fuck you to them. Keep saying it, majority. Because people ain't fooled by these motherfuckers no more. Don't be fooled by them. That's the thing. Don't be fooled. No matter what they trying to say, unless you forced. And if you have, I ain't got, it's no hate. If that's what you had to do, I understand. But I'm just saying, this could be a possibility. So you can't just say, because if you look at the way they come, I take the bud and some of the female aliens can take with me. Hey, you remember Captain Kirk had the little devil-looking chick with the horn tail? I think that would probably be pretty cool to, kick it with the green chick. You remember both Captain Kirks had different colored chicks. Remember that? The original Kirk was kissing on a green chick. He was like, his pimping went universal, galactical pimping. Captain Kirk was the first galactical pimp. He was galactically pimping them chicks. He was like, show me your females. And then what happened? He started macking. Something happened. Shit back going. Killed it. So I don't know that. I find that funny. I would be like that too. It's like when the United States took Mexico. They didn't even want the Mexican women. They just left all that shit down there. It's like, we just kicked your ass. We'll take California, this little shit, but y'all can have all this shit. They didn't even want their hoes. I used to work with this Mexican brother. I used to get him on that one. He's like, oh, you ain't shit. I'm like, they didn't even bring the Mexican hoes up here with them. He's like, no, they didn't. They left them down there. Captain Kirk was always fucking, there you go. I'll take the bud. Smoke alien bud, you be seeing spaceships in the hood. There you go. The spaceships would have rims and shit and tinted windows. So, shit, give me one of them space cars. I don't want one of these kind of cars they showing me. Give me one of them space cars. Yeah, Captain Kirk was the original space age pimp. There you go. That's right. He took his pimping everywhere. I like that. Show me your hoes. And they would hoes would appear. Remember, he had the one hoe couldn't even talk. She could just do expressions and shit. She's like, she couldn't even talk and shit. She's like, you could tell when she was hurt. And, when he's putting the macking on there, she was kind of like, remember he was pimping on a chick, couldn't even talk on there. Captain Kirk could get it in. He was like, I've never met a hole in space I couldn't get with. Maybe you guys can play that one backwards. That was a miss. I missed and shit. Oh, it's just fun. I'm just saying, look, it ain't gonna be nothing different. They bring that shit out. I mean, V is trying to show you. Remember the Will Smith movie that came from V? They trying to show you how it is. You're gonna let the motherfuckers come in, give them jobs. Like, okay, look at how they did here. They brought all these Hmong in. Next thing you know, Hmong's got certain jobs. But the better example is Somalians. They brought all these Somalians here to Minnesota. Next thing you know, they are all the taxi cab drivers. They are all the people working in the garages before the garages went to computer. But they set these people up in jobs. So you don't think if they brought some waves of aliens, they wouldn't set them up in jobs and be like that Will Smith movie? Where, they'd be poor aliens and they'd be rich aliens. Some of the aliens be like niggas, there'd be some nigga aliens and shit. They would put near us and shit. They're like, these must be, you would vibe better than them. I mean, like the Will Smith movie, they trying to tell you that they want the alien thing to be normal. You could have an alien shit living next door to you, and as long as he ain't trying to eat you, I guess it's okay. Oh, salute. Solo Tech said Ray Allen got in a motorcycle accident. Oh. If you bring a spaceship in the hood, jacket. Aliens in racism when that happens. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I want to look that up. Ray Allen got in an accident? Oh, okay. I don't miss this with freaking... okay. So they go... Dumbass shit. Let's look that up. He got messed up. I hope he's okay. See if I can pull that up. Oh, I guess so. Former Miami Heat player Ray Allen urges players to wear helmets after motorcycle accident. Oh, he was wearing a helmet. He ran over a branch and got thrown from his motorcycle. Oh, okay. Looks like he's all right. Wow. Yeah, I didn't understand the dudes that didn't want to wear the motorcycle helmets. Now I agree, you look cooler without a helmet, but if you fall, and what did Cat Williams say? You're going to fall. I don't know. Time and place. Let's see. The time. Now it's dated at 10 p.m. So this story just came out a couple hours ago. Doesn't really tell. Says today. This ain't no motorcycle accident. This is a bike. He was riding a bike. Yeah, he was riding a regular bike. Yeah, it says it's bicycle. I don't wear no damn helmet wearing a bicycle. No, I'll take my chances on that. That's supposedly his helmet. I ride a bicycle. I don't wear no damn helmet. Can't really tell. I don't know. I think he still lives in Miami. I guess his restaurant is in Miami. He got thrown off a bike. uh, uh, he said the helmet saved him. He sure did. Yep, Ray was a buck. Yep. He was a buck too. Yeah, he started his career with the Bucks. Or was it Seattle? Didn't he go Seattle then the Bucks? I could be wrong. I thought he wrote was from Seattle and the Bucks. So apparently, I flipped over a bike. Shit. I was going to football practice and I had my Oakland Raider bag. Instead of having it around my shoulder, I was holding it. And that motherfucker swung into the sprockets and flipped me over. I still practiced. They was like, shit, you alive? I had to take like the broken bike all the way to school because I was closer to the school. My friend laughed at me. My friend like, I'm going to laugh at you till you're about 60 because the shit was funny. The shit was funny. No doubt that the shit was funny. Buck Seattle. Buck Seattle. Oh, he went to the Supersonics second. Okay. Yeah, I knew he had played with Seattle too. Yeah, I thought he came in with Seattle. Why y'all looking like damn, just like a bike? Well, damn. Why we all looking? I know. I thought he was killed or something. This motherfucker flips off a bike. Yeah, I thought Seattle was his first team. I thought he got picked by them. Because really, like, he got put on the map when they beat Iverson and them in the the Big East. He beat Iverson in Georgetown with a money bucket because Iverson just scored, or Jamani White maybe had just scored, and they was up by 1. And then Ray Allen, with time moving out, like got a nice shot off because he went to UConn and he beat them mugs. Whoops. I'm going to spill beer everywhere. You say you plenty of times. I can't say I did it plenty of times, but I did it that time. I was 15. It flipped on my head. The mind manipulation and black, white, you think they're already in it? Wind or moving towards being manipulated more easily. The mind manipulation. You know, this manipulation of the color line since Floyd's thing and trying to blame everything on that is like, the problem is now it's everywhere. Now it's everywhere. And now it's just, see, this is the same thing they trying to say in CRT. They're trying to say that the over blackness is pointing out too much, overwhelmingly too much. Like colorism is overwhelmingly too much. Hey, Dobie, I'm sorry, what's happening? So that's what it's about. It's like it's over too much, and so it makes them rebel, makes them feel like less. Because they're saying it's not fair that you talk about these murderous people and you link the murderous people to today. That's what their point is. We weren't murderous in the last 100 years. It was other people that were murderous, but we're living with you now and we're not murderous. Where that psychologist said that shit's in the genes. So that's what is going on today. They try to oversaturate shit so they can say enough and then buck about it. Remember what I was telling you about reparation shame? Remember that? Remember they did a movie or a short movie or one of them where they did it about reparation shame. Like if reparations was given. And in this one scene, the young European boy says, you only got money because of reparations, because they were richer than him. So already they was putting in the mind of European people that if melanated people suddenly had an upward mobility, it was given to them. They didn't earn it. And if you don't think this shit that's been happening in the past years, giving free money ain't got something to do with that, you are sadly mistaken. You are sadly mistaken, because they can you getting that unemployment for whatever, you getting these checks, they could easily say that was reparations for everybody. Because they don't talk about white slavery, they keep that shit under the table. They don't like talking about European slavery on them. They keep that shit away. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about who really got freed in the South. Because people was called poor white trash until they asked them to fight. But as a PNF show, start looking at some of them Southern generals. Just look up all the Texas generals. You're going to see a lot of melanated people. Which they said, it's a book saying, looking for the myth of the melanated Southern soldiers. Just look up them Texas brothers and you'll get an understanding on who the fuck was fighting them. That was a classic game, but Allen Iverson, he got his revenge on Ray in the EFC in 01. Yeah, he did. Hey, there my man is. And everybody applauds Siova, the technician. As I said, Siova, I don't know if you heard this or not, but I'll say this while you watching. Is you are just as important to our community. You and Keep a Techie, you guys are just as important in this community as Bobby Hemmett was in the spiritual and occult community. Because we need people to be able to explain things clearly to everybody. And on the tech side, when my son listens to you and other young men that he know listen to you, they can relate to you. And the same with Keep It Techie. So I look at both of your importance as that important, just as important as Bobby Hemmett was. So I hope you guys carry that torch, and I hope all the young people take advantage. If you're doing this kind of thing, or even anything related to this, these brothers can kind of point you in the right direction. I even wonder if we should go into how what key grips are, what people assembling sets. See, that ain't even taught hardly, how to assemble sets and how to be a key grip on some kind of production. I mean, these are all union jobs out there that they do, and none of this is taught to our community. When the last time you've seen somebody on anything to say this is how you build a set for television or a movie? See, we need to be doing that. Exactly. No, brother, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Natural. Okay, Queen. Hey, thank you for joining. Yeah, close to setups. Indeed, indeed. So we need people like you and Keep It Techie. And people need to get into this and spread their around because they give out good information. And Keep It Techie is a little more sophisticated than I am. So sometimes I get lost, but that's okay because he always comes back around and tries to explain it. So I appreciate that. Because I know, I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, but it's building a community where we can say, okay, I can't think of that, but so and so can think of that. Check out so and so, he could do it. That's what a community is we have somebody that specializes in everything. I mean, if you look at the old Matt Helms movie, he can call, he got people that can do all these different jobs. That was like a James Bond cat. James Coburn played him. He was cool though. He's macking the chicks while he's kicking ass. So that's the kind of community we need, though. We need a community that has everybody that has something and that you can join. Wow, thank you, MJ. It ain't about egos. It's about who can help who do what. And I'm copying what you said because you called it the infinite ball game, and I like that more than what I said. It flows better. So the holder of the infinite ball game created by the Hero Twins. That is when you said that, I was like, I'm copying that. So I stole infinite from you. Why does my camera cut off? Not understanding this. Oh. Okay. All right. I feel that. Okay. I'll try something else. Tricks are for kids. It's like the way they poison us and stuff. You look at no, when sweet cereal, cereal what didn't used to be sweet. Then all of a sudden in the 60s, all these commercials bombard us with sweet cereals. When cereal was more healthy. Now milk ain't really never been healthy, but all these sweet cereals and just the poisons. I mean, sugar is more deadly than cocaine. The white sugar is. I mean, I've got the same couple pounds that I put in, and it's not hood spaghetti if you put sugar in it. It's to take away all the acid that is in spaghetti. My son says they call it hood spaghetti. I'm like, well, they're wrong. We put sugar in it because Italians like all that acid. We don't like all that acid, so we cut it with a little bit of sugar. They food in the store so bad when I shop, I barely have anything. Yeah, it's ridiculous when you get to looking at it. I tell you what, though, I had, and I've never had these before. I bought some sweet potatoes, and I mean big ones. It take them about an hour to cook. You can air fry them for a little while and then put them in the oven. But what was interesting is they look white. I had never seen a white sweet potato before. Because when I originally cooked it the other night, the first one, because I got 3 of them, and I guess I didn't read the shit, but it said sweet potato. But when I cooked it, I thought, oh, these is white potatoes, but they're huge. And yeah, I'd never seen a white sweet potato. So the first time I ate it, I put sour cream on it, which was still okay. Sour cream and sweet wasn't bad. But D Still 94, yes, thank you for joining me, D Still. Marvin, a book called Sugar Blues by William Duffy. Okay, I have to check that out. I've said this before. When I was doing quality control at the Mr. Bubble shop, there was a chemical in there. This chemical, if you smelled it, it'd get you high. It was an artificial sweetener. I can't think of what it's called, but we was only putting pinches of this shit and stuff. But if you opened it and snorted, because the dude, like, when he introduced me to it, he's like, smell this shit. I was like, whoa. You smelled it. It gave you a joint. You could be snorting this shit all the time. It's this artificial sweetener. I mean, it had that instant kind of like, whoa. So it wasn't much. They didn't give much, but this shit cost a lot. It wasn't much because we didn't use much. But this shit, just smelling the shit got you high. And it was an artificial sweetener that they put in soaps and shit like that. But that chemical was like this shit was like cocaine. This was an artificial sweetener that had the effect of cocaine if you smelled it. They are good, yeah. Hey, Perspective, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. So it was good. Get a lot of vitamin A. Oh, and I forgot to say this, and then I'll get into a couple things. Maybe I'll kill this live because it's all my information is on this phone. But if I didn't say this before, don't wear sunglasses outside. Get all that vitamin D as much as you can, and it don't, if sometimes the reflection is so bad you got to wear them, but ease up when you really don't. Like outside, get as much vitamin D as you can, because they push sunglasses on us to kind of break that, getting as much natural vitamin D. So as you get older, you're going to need more natural, not the drugs they try to push on you. So as you live, and especially the people that live in the north, get as much vitamin D as you possibly can. Take the sunglasses off. I guess I'm going to have to kill this Facebook Live. I'll erase it, because I got some points I want to bring up on some shit. You know what? Yeah, everything's on here, so I'll bring up the points as I come to them. One thing when I find it, I just saw myself. I turned it off, though. Everything must be on the other channel. Okay. All right, here we go. This is worth reading for people that are into flat plane. Really, it breaks everything down. It's not that long. So our universe might be a giant three-dimensional donut. Imagine a universe where you could point a spaceship in one direction and eventually turn to where you started. If our universe was a finite donut, then such movements would be possible, and physics could potentially measure its size. We could say now know the size of the universe. Examining light from the very early universe, astrophysics have deduced that our cosmos may be multiply connected, meaning that space is closed and on in itself in all three dimensions, like a three-dimensional donut. So they're saying that it's rounded and closed off, even though it's expanded. Multiply, meaning that space is closing on itself in all three dimensions, like a three-dimensional donut. Such a universe would be finite, according to one, only about 3 to 4 times larger than the limits of the observable universe, about 45 billion light years away. Physics used the language of Einstein to explain the universe. The language connects the contents of space-time into the bending and warping of space-time and tells those connects how to interact. This is how we experience the force of gravity. Gravity ain't real, but in cosmological context, the language connects the entire universe. Again, they make up dark matter. Let me see. The geometry of the universe dictates it's flat. The geometry of the universe dictates it's flat. Flat and open universe would continue to expand forever, while a closed universe would eventually collapse in on itself. Multiple observations, especially for the cosmic, radioactive, the flash of light, 38,000. Again, it's these same numbers, 380,000, have firmly established that we live in a flat universe. Okay, our universe was only established 380,000 years ago, but we have firmly established that we live in a flat universe. Parallel lines stay parallel in our universe, and even if it keeps on expanding. But there's more to shape than geometry. There's also topology, is how shapes can change while maintaining the same geometric rules. For example, on a flat piece of paper, it's obviously flat. Parallel lines stay parallel. Now take two edges of that paper and roll into a cylinder. Those parallel lines are still parallel. Cylinders are geometrically flat. Now take the opposite ends of the cylinder paper and connect those. That makes the shape of a donut, which is also geometrically flat. While our measurements, the contents and shape of the universe is geometry is flat, they see about the topography. They don't tell us if our universe is multiply connected, which means that one or more of the dimensions of our cosmos is connected to another. I don't want to get too far away with that, but that for the people that say flat plane, they show you, they tell you that the universe is flat, but they tell you we don't live on something flat. But all the buildings, the building blocks of everything are cubes. Like if you take a mountain is basically built by this. Cubes. Technically, these pyramids that are Apophyllite shape, technically they take the edges off, and these are cubes, and they just take the edges off a cube. So the biggest mountains in the world, this is basically what they're built on. Squares, cubes. You don't hear flat plane people talk this. What? I didn't want that to get too way out there. Oh, I know what I want to share. PJ, you would love this. Brag a little bit. Forgot to share this. I wanted to share this. I'm hyped with this one. So the high school that my son went to and my daughter's going to go to is called the Prior Lake Lakers. Garcia lives Marquette, skips NBA draft, and signs with North Carolina. Dawson Garcia won't make the jump to the NBA next fall, but instead will switch to the Atlantic Coast Conference. After one season at Marquette, the 2020 Prior Lake graduate thought about going pro, but instead he put himself in the NBA in the transfer portal. He is going to with what's his name? Davis just took over that job. Back in April, the 6'11", he was playing point guard at 6'10" in high school. He got a little taller. Garcia announced Twitter he would go through the NBA draft, but he didn't hire an agent. So he got the advice to stay another year. So he led Marquette in scoring and rebounding as a freshman. And so he had really bad acne. They must have really had bad water. But he had terrible acne this season. I don't know what happened to him when he went to Milwaukee, but his acne was terrible. So this 6'11" cat that can play a one. Of course, in college, he was playing mostly fours and fives. So he didn't want to play for Shaka Smart. He wanted to play for Davis instead. So this is a hometown boy. I watched him since he was in ninth grade. And he's going to be with the ACC. So Dawson Garcia. Forgot to mention him. How about them Tar Heels? There you go, Lawan. Yeah, Herbert Davis. Yeah. Oh, he can play. He can play. With better players, he'll be all right. How'd you know I was a Carolina basketball fan? Hey, when I lived down there, I really never bought A&T stuff just because it just went there. I don't know. I never really bought. My ex did, but I personally never did. And I regretted it when I left. I've since ordered a few things, but I had a bunch of Carolina stuff. I had a bunch of Carolina stuff. It's just even today I still buy that kind of stuff. So. Yeah, I used to have a bunch of Carolina stuff. Big dog status. Oh yeah. So yeah, look, he can play too. He'll start, no doubt. He'll come in and start. And really, he's more like Anthony Davis. He's more of a 4, but he's got the size of a 5. He's 6'11". He needs to get a little bigger, but he can shoot. Got range. Got handles. Again, Marquette had him playing more inside, so I'm excited for him. Like we have another boy I didn't say I got a Devo. Everybody call him Devo, but that's not his real name. But he's playing for the Gophers, and We're going to try to put T-shirts out because he ain't really doing nothing to make money, because you can make money now. He's on Instagram, so I got to get his Instagram and put it out here so people start checking him out. But we're trying to get something going for him. But his mama got a little money. Oh, this is where the beer went. My crystal smells like stale beer. But I got to get his name out and get his Instagram out there too, because he's a good guy. Carolina ride or die around here. Oh, I know. Justin asked, how do they rig baseball? I seem like I talk about that a lot. I mean, you really got to go into the Ken Burns show. If you watch Ken Burns' story about baseball, they'll tell you how baseball was created in the 80s, like right after. Baseball was actually probably played, like they had a game called Rounders, but we know in the Americas they played a similar game, and they just copied a game played in the Americas. So what they called baseball, they played in the Civil War. So it's been back that far. But when the first teams really, where every town had a team, they would go to, like, we'd come over to your place, and they're like, well, you let us win these 2 games, and then when we come to your place, we'll let you win 2 games. And that's kind of how, to get the interest. And then the dudes who wanted to be the owners came in and said, hey, this sport is foul. They blackballed one dude, but it was really, what happened was they created that to take the game away from the players. So they took the game away from the players, and all of a sudden you had owners. That's the thing about the Negro leagues that was so people don't understand, is a lot of times it'd be a Negro league game and then a major league game, because the Negro league games was filling up. That is one part where some of the owners was against integration, because they was making good money. Now, I had to take it all that full circle. Like I said about Ty Cobb said all the World Series from 1912 to 1919 was fixed. And Ty Cobb played in several of them leading up to 1919. So they've always controlled it. But look at how the deception and the deflection they're trying to do. Oh, the Astros were using technology. Oh, the pitchers are using some kind of substance. These are just deflections of it being fixed. That's all. It's just rationalizing. It's not fixed. We're on top of it. No, it's smoke and mirrors. It's smoke and mirrors. You let them, when baseball went on strike and people forgot about baseball, they let Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa use steroids, hit homers, use cork bats. They didn't care. They needed baseball to come back. So they didn't care that it became the home run steroid era. They didn't care. And then the same people that didn't care want to come down on these people and not put them in the Hall of Fame, when these people was doing the service of what the league was allowing. Like tonight, Twins have one man out. Barrios has pitched the whole game. He's put 2 people on base. He hit a dude. Another dude got a single. He gets a 2-0 count, and he pitches a fastball up the middle. First of all, he should have been taken out. It was obvious that his control issues was going. It was in the last inning. Well, it was in overtime. And so the Twins could have went to bat. I think the Twins had 2 outs. But, I mean, he pitched, like who doesn't take him out? Barrios has struck the dude out twice. He's faced him twice, and he's tired. Pitchers get tired. That's how they fix it. They keep that tired pitcher in there. They put the right circumstance, and they wear earbuds too. They know what's coming. Just like I showed the first video on this new channel, I showed a Hank Aaron 714. The catcher is right there telling Hank what's coming. He is telling Hank the pitch that's coming. And you don't think a brother that's throwing the pitch want to be part of that history? You don't think people didn't want it to be that part of that history of giving Hank these home runs? I think the dude's name is Dotson that gave Hank the home run. How do I still know that? I'm pretty sure that's his name. But watch my video. He's telling Hank Aaron the pitch that's coming. And Hank Aaron was really never a dude that hit a whole bunch of home runs. He just played 20 years of averaging about 15 to 20. He wasn't like Willie Mays, and they took damn near 2 years from Willie Mays, or Willie Mays would have had that shit. but they put Willie Mays in the Army because it was the draft. Draft been since the Korean War. When I was a little boy and motherfuckers got drafted to Vietnam, you would graduate and a week or two later you get a damn letter. If you didn't go to college, deferments. So that's how it's easy. See, I always talk about a little egghead man in a room, kind of like the designer in the Matrix. He's got all the games. He on screens, he got all the games. On another screen, he got all the odds and all the records. And he is literally going through how to fix the game. And then in another room, it's a dude that's looking at how they're going to get the best ratings on what teams if they push them through the playoffs. Who can make us the most money? What's going to get us the most ratings? So it's another dude that looks at all of that. He's like, he runs simulations just like the games on the video games. He runs them type of simulations. How many people can we expect in the crowd? How many advertisers can we get? He runs simulation of games and puts those numbers in. And then once they figure all that out, who's going to make them the most money? They put the teams in for real. And the way they script them is the same way the game follows. Let him hit a single. Let him hit a triple. Strike him out. Like the cat that the cat from Japan. He didn't give up a hit. Then they put him in the outfield. The next dude give up a homer and lose the game for him. They kept him in to play outfield like Babe Ruth. You know, Ruth quit pitching or got relieved. He'd go play so that he could still hit. So they Babe Ruth him. So that's one way they do it. I had a career in Discovery teacher that was a big North Carolina Hoops fan. He wear nothing Carolina stuff, even Carolina blue. There you go, Lorenzo. I'm just restocking mine, but that just blew my mind up. I never told you he was my favorite college. People, I'll tell you, I was watching sports and I see so many home run highlights. You can't tell me that ball isn't you. This is the thing. And watch the pattern they do. It is almost identical. It's like if one dude hit 3 home runs, it's another dude hit 3 home runs. If one dude pitch a no-hitter, sometimes they'll go a couple other days and another dude. But home runs seem to be the thing. If there's 2 home runs in a game, it's another game going to be almost identical situations. Almost identical. So, makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. Oh. Where's the other one? What I do with mine? I'm an old man and y'all. Here's this one. I lost my phone. It's cloaked. Let me tell you, that's another thing. Is there's like, especially if you have citrine, it'll cloak shit around you. It's a funny kind of jokester energy. That there it is. It just uncloaked. The shit was cloaked. But that's a funny little energy that can be around you. This might be a little too deep. Maybe I can explain it. I don't know. This is kind of deep. New shape opens wormholes between numbers and geometry. This is in Quantum Magazine. I want to find the diagram. Okay, in some kind of wormhole between 2 different worlds, they really just become the same thing somehow through different lenses. Root harvest. The Langlands program is a sprawling research vision that begins with a simple concern: finding solutions to polynomial equations like x squared minus 2 equals 0 and x quadro 4 minus 10x squared plus 22 equals 0. Solving them means finding the roots of the polynomial, which is plus minus square root of 2, and x equals plus minus square root of 5 plus minus square root of 3 for the second. By the 1500s, mathematicians had discovered a tiny formula for calculating the roots of polynomials, whose highest powers are 2, 3, and 4. Then they searched for ways to identify the roots of polynomials with variable raised to the power of 5 and beyond. A young mathematician, check this out. In 1832, a young mathematician named Evatas Galorius discovered the search was fruitless, proving that there are no general method for calculating the roots of higher power polynomials. He didn't stop there, though. In the month before his death in a duel in 1832, you know what a duel is? A duel is like how Alexander Hamilton got killed. You stand there with a ball, and you know the ball is just, that's why the Civil War would just tear off limbs. Like if you insulted a motherfucker in the 1830s and he was like, I got the right to duel you. And if you didn't duel him, shoot guns at each other, you would be shamed and shit. You might lose your job. They might take your money, so you had to go shoot at this motherfucker. He laid a new theory out of polynomial solutions. Rather than calculating the roots exactly, which can't be done in most cases, he proposed studying the symmetries between roots, which he encoded in a new mathematical object eventually called a Gallus group. An example, x squared minus 2, instead of making the root explicit, the Gallus group emphasizes the two roots. They are mirror images of each other so far as the laws of algebra are connected. And so what's new, because this is boring, they have maybe I'm wrong. So Langlands is a new way of communicating. And this is kind of the shape of how it connects. And I know this is kind of a little abstract. So I don't know how much more. It seemed like this shit's long as hell. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is kind of more advanced. Probably boring for most people. Kind of abstract. Mayan science acknowledges now what sages knew about reality 5,000 years ago. Maya is a word which is a very familiar to the Western world, but very few know what it actually means. It is a word used by the rishis of ancient India to describe the nature of the universe in its changing form. The rishis have always been telling us that the matter is not real or as solid as we think. It is only an illusion projected by our senses. They called it Maya, or the magical creative power of the Brahman. Again, they say we living in Brahma's breath. When I talk about my jumping point, I talk about a jumping point of living in Brahma's tears. Matter is energy and motion. Maya is a state when the mind confuses the myriad forms of the world and takes them for real without apprehending the underlying unity that binds them all together. What gives form and purpose to the drama we enjoy on the TV is a firm, unchanging, pure white screen beneath. The screen itself has no qualities. It is unmoving and unchanging, but without this solid support, the play of light and shade which we are watching would have no form or no meaning. Similarly, the drama of our life and the drama of the world taking place in front of our eyes have no meaning without the solid stage of the steady, unchanging state of pure consciousness of the Brahma which is being enacted. The quantum world, which is strange and unbelievable, dance of particles, solidifies into a semblance of concrete reality with observation made by someone, because particles and waves only react when you're watching them. So I know some people look at the double slit theory, but again, they're only going to go through those double slits when you're watching them. They're only going to turn into a wave or a particle while you're observing them. So if you ain't observing them, they don't do shit. Do you understand that? This is the base of what they say all reality is particle and waves. But yet, when they're observed, they only do shit when you observe them. So the particles, okay, so the quantum world is a semblance of reality when observations made by someone. In the absence of observer, the atomic world is only a possibility. The particles materialize only when we look at them. Another strange fact is when scientists, it's ads popping everywhere. Another strange fact is when scientists look for the location of a particle, they were able to, shit's jumping all around. Uh, they were able to find it at a particular place, but they could not gauge its speed. When they wanted to gauge its speed, the particle turns into a wave. They could see its motion. However, the scientists could not fix both its location and speed at the same time. And the other thing is particles from one part of the universe act as the same way as particles from another side. And that's non-locality. Non-locality is that something will react to another part of the universe. So we're non-local beings. That is why the spiritualness in us can continue, because we don't have locality. When I talk about going to the ethers, when I talk about going into the czars, we can do that because we're not local. We can look at a planet and pretty much just go there. I mean, it's some steps, but because we're non-local people, we're non-local beings. And so that's the base of this reality. And I just want to give a touch of that. On the other one is a universal fractal. Now I will say this. One thing that I think gets ignored when people go back and look at old civilizations and do the civilizations jive is through fractals. Like, I can look at their art, their building patterns, and I can see if it's the same fractals or not. And so if you don't see the same fractals throughout, you know it's something different. Like, I'm studying Peru right now, and the Chauvin, and then he talks about the corn, the people that at first just raised beans, and then he said the people that brought the corn. I mean, you can see these civilizations. You can see where the Chauvin, which was one of the oldest civilizations in that part of the world, turned into another civilization, even though this other civilization started using some of the fractals. So that is something you have to consider. Even in the ethers, that's another thing to consider, is like what fractals are being released to you. So when you close your eyes, you start creating. You can't help it. You close your eyes and automatically you start creating. And can you recognize what you create? And not only can you recognize what you're creating, can you recognize the patterns that would really be your home in the ethers or the czar, whichever movement you use? Can you recognize the aliens that come through? And all they want you to do is recognize them, because sometimes they just give you gifts by just saying, okay, you see me, okay, you move through, or you miss it. Is he still missing it? It's like this pattern I talked about before, where divergence came to me. This came to me in fractal patterns. And it wasn't until I saw my one on the table, or is it right here? I was meditating with it, so I'm pretty sure it's on the table. But this came to me before I even knew what it was. It started coming to me. I started seeing bits and pieces of this. So the back catcher told him, hey, James, what's happening? I'm sorry. The catcher told him good luck. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Hey, Liquid Fire. Al Downey was a pitcher. Yeah, Downey. Okay. Yeah. I knew it was something like that. Add them numbers up, they equal 13. Your channel is never boring or weird to me. Non-local beings. I love to be in North Carolina right now. Celebrate, fam. Oh, Carolina. The thing is Ghost Shoe. Yeah, if y'all ain't never saw Ghost Shoe, the greatest homecoming on earth is at A&T. And after being closed, I'm thinking about buying a house in Greensboro, because you can't get hotels anymore. And if I wanted to move, I would move back to North Carolina. Just the weather is so agreeable. In Greensboro, where it sits in a perfect spot. You ain't too close to the ocean, because you're about 5 hours from the ocean in Greensboro. You're about 3 or 4 hours from the mountains. So if you want to go fuck around in the mountains, you're 5 hours from Atlanta. You're about 7-8 hours from Florida. So it's a great central. You about 4 or 5 hours from DC. Go another couple hours, take you to New York, or if you want to go to Boston. So I miss it. 7 plus 5 plus 1 equals 13. There you go, Lorenzo. Good breakdown. So if y'all ain't never saw the greatest homecoming on earth, there's nothing like it. When they say it's the greatest, when I went to college, we stayed in hotels because it was shit to do every night. Every night is shit for the alumni to do during homecoming week. You remember in the movie Do the Right Thing when they had them singing and shit? It's like that, but it'd be concerts. Where'd my voice go? Sounding like Mickey Mouse and shit. And like, when they highlight when they doing the butt, can't tell you how many concerts I saw at A&T. I guess I never talk about that. Like, we played Mississippi Valley with Jerry Rice when he played Willie Toten, and we got beat. And I'll tell the full story. I think somebody drugged me. I had such a great game the game before. I really worked hard that week. I go in to sit down. I always drink tea and honey, and someone poisoned me. Someone stuck speed in my tea and honey. Now, I know people say, well, the tea might have, nah. It was the regular tea I drank every time. Whatever affected me up until halftime. Then this is where I got the helmet in the middle of my back. But anyway, somebody poisoned me. Somebody definitely put some speed. Now, there's no excuse that I had a bad game, but something was done to me. I'm positive, because tea had never affected me where I'm just, tea lasts 15, 20 minutes. And from the time you eat to the time you get on the field, it could be an hour to 2 hours. Matter of fact, we didn't have to be on the field till noon. I drank this tea at we had a 1 o'clock game, so I must have drank it like 8, 9 o'clock. So you telling me there's a tea out there that would keep me still speeding 2, 3 hours later? And so I don't know who did it to me. Everything was off. But anyway, so, we're kind of bummed that we're having a bad game. We lost. So we go eat, go pick up my girl. My best friend had got a strawberry cake. And so we're sitting in his room. No, we didn't even go to dinner. We just came back to the room, started smoking, drinking. And we ate his strawberry cake. Even my girl was eating her strawberry. Patricia Alexander. She's in Ohio now, I think. But Patricia was with us. She's smoking and drinking with us. So it's Goodman and Brown, Edward Goodwin and Brown, must be a special lady. It's them. Trying to think who was maybe Cameo. Midnight Star. So when Midnight Star was on, we was sitting down. No, we was standing up, and we was fine. Shit, me and her went to sit down by the time Ray Goodman and Brown came on. Next thing you looked at her head was on my arm, and she was like this in the concert, just knocked out, drunk. So sitting down was the wrong move. So I'm feeling I'm about to throw up. So I try to go outside. The cops maybe thinking, sneaking people in. He wouldn't let me go outside to throw up. So there was one alternative. I couldn't make it to the bathroom, but I made it to the fountain. And so when I approached the fountain, it's a dude standing there. And he's seeing me throw up. He gets out the way. And I threw up on him a little bit. But I threw up all over the fountain too. And the dude started getting mad. One of his boys said, that's one of them football players, and there's about 4 or 5 right over there. So you don't say shit to him. It's like, so I go sit down, and I'm interjected. I felt fine. Then my girl was like, can you take me to the women's bathroom? So we get up again, and she goes and throws up in the bathroom. But I threw all up on it. Just remember the dude taking a drink, and out the corner of his eye, he sees a motherfucker coming and just throw up coming. I threw up all over his leg and down his leg. Yeah, he'd have got that smoke too. I was still drunk and, feisty. I was in that hallway at the door the last time. The mind is something. That's good that you practice that. Yeah, North Carolina got some beautiful women. Really beautiful women. A&T, like we had a thing that if, like what you have to understand of A&T, it was already like 4-to-1 ratio. It was mostly a women's college. I mean, 4-to-1. But across the street, and I don't know if a lot of y'all know about Bennett College. Now, the history of Bennett College is very racist. It's very racist because they only took pretty light-skinned girls for a long time. They only took pretty light-skinned sisters or light brown sisters that was pretty. and then they started getting sued for not taking ugly chicks. But when you send in your application for college, you had to send in your picture to go to Bennett College. But with Bennett College there, it made the ratio. This is like 500, 600, just all women, and like all pretty decent looking women. It was a couple women that hooped and stuff, but for the most part, pretty decent. So it raises the odds to 6-1. You got Greensboro College. These are within miles, which was again a mixed. It was a mixed college, but mostly women. So it was like 10-1 in Greensboro when I was young and at my finest. And UNCG was the better food, because I'll say when I went to A&T, the food was trash. I'll say that. The food was horrible. Breakfast was only the good thing. Like we broke into the cafeteria because they built a new cafeteria, but the football players in the upper class, the seniors, got to eat in their own cafeteria. So the football team ate with the seniors. So all the senior girls was there with me. Breakfast was the only good food. Oh, but anyway, we broke into the little cafeteria and we saw this cake that everybody would get. This cake is already made, just sitting out. Like, yeah, no wrapping or nothing, just this cake. And we named one of our players Cake Man because he would always take the cake. Nobody wanted the cake but him. And he'd always take a big wad of it back to the room. The mind is something though, PJ. Keep North Kakalaki. There you go, Liquid Fire. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's where I get a Daddy-O was on the radio in Winston-Salem. You can look up Daddy-O in the Winston-Salem, in the Radio Hall of Fame. There was for Winston-Salem, there was a DJ called Daddy-O. That's where I get that. I'm sitting on the patio with Daddy-O. I get that from him. I just throw in the galactic stuff, but it was a real DJ that was in Winston-Salem because I first went down there in 5th grade because my father's girlfriend was from Winston-Salem. She went to school with Earl Monroe, where I cut up all the pictures in her yearbooks. I fucked her yearbooks up. And that sister's not with us. My mother didn't know that sister had died, but that sister got murdered in the 80s. Sad, but she was a good sister. She introduced me to all her family in Winston. I had a ball. When I couldn't go home during breaks, I could go to Winston and stay with her family and just have a blast at Winston-Salem. Just have a blast. Winston-Salem had a lot of pretty people. All the meals were pretty good. I actually gained a soulful cackalack. Bitcoin. All the meals were pretty good. I actually gained a few pounds in college, not where I ate. A&T did not feed us well. Like every blue moon, we'd have some better stuff, but overall, I told the first time I ever ate powdered eggs, right through me. I was lucky. Matter of fact, the powdered eggs hit me so hard, I ran into the women's dorm, and I made it in there, and I blew up a toilet in the women's dorm. That is how bad the first time I had powdered eggs. But they would give us powdered eggs. Like my daughter gave me a Krispy Kreme donut. She just went down to Arkansas and came back, and I was like, "Ooh!" But you like the things I'll say about the Greeks when they wanted to hustle money, they had Krispy Kreme donuts would be a baker's dozen, which is everybody knows a baker dozen. You get 13. But I have a buck and could get them donuts and be starving. Like it would be torture to watch a McDonald's or a Burger King commercial at midnight. I'll be hungry and I can't go eat till 6 because breakfast was the only thing good. Dinner was maybe. Now, when I played football on Saturdays, my coach loved steak. He was old steak potato. I never liked eating steak potatoes in the morning. It just was too much and I really didn't even like steak. As a child, I really didn't eat a lot of steak because I didn't like it. And so now I'm forced to eat this shit. And sometimes it ain't even steak. It's like just roast. And I never really liked roast as a child and a young person. And I'm forced to eat it. And a damn potato, a baked potato. Petty Pablo put North Carolina on the map with that song, North Carolina. There you go. I kept going down for late night eating cheeseburger and fries. See, we ain't had none of that. Like other schools like have athletic dorms and they have dorms where you can eat all night like that. That's why the stipends coming in. So men and women get money from college that can, you ain't forced to eat this food. But some colleges, when they have athletic dorms, they have good food. But yeah. The only thing they gave us good was the near beer. They gave us the beer so we wouldn't lose weight because, it was 100 and some. We could do back then. They made us do 2 a days, and it'd be like 105, 110. So when we would have our breaks between double practices and sometimes triple practices, that was the first time I had that near beer. The fake beer, low alcohol beer, like almost no alcohol beer. So we wouldn't lose the weight. Like I said, I went to the camp one year weighing 185 solid. I'm a 6-foot receiver. I can still run a 4.4. Shoot. By that first week, I was down to like 172, 173. Now, by the time the season would come back, I'd gain a few more pounds. And I played the season about 175, and I'm 6 foot, 6.5 foot. But I could get that fofo. Like a helicopter, perhaps through Jordan. Yeah, liquid. It was like the Kings of Comedy, my ex-brother-in-law, they was up in there. Actually, my ex-sister-in-law, she was up in there. Yep. So, yeah, I love North Carolina. I really did. I just didn't want my children to grow up in North Carolina. I was against that daddy. Hey, daddy. I was just that in my mind back then. I just didn't want to hear that. Hey, daddy. Because you can still hear some of my words. My 20-year-old mocked me his whole life. He could hear my Southern accent, and he picked it up. He would say words like I would say. He put it in his regular vocabulary, my 20-year-old, because he could really hear me. And he would always say words like I would say, Southern words, or slow way I have. In sports anyway. I'll say that. It's the sports haven down there. Being in the Greensboro Coliseum, all the NCAA divisional games will be down there. I saw a lot of great players in the 80s. I saw no player better than Len Bias. I've said that many times. I thought Bias had overall better skill than Jordan. Jordan was a better athlete, but I thought Bias was a better player. Bigger, leap higher, already had a jump shot, and could flush on anybody, punch it on anybody. He had all the skills. It's not daddy, it's dada. Dad that overdosed though. Yeah, he did it. I talked about that the other night. I still don't understand how, young man, two dudes snort cocaine all day. One goes into a seizure and one is like talking about it. Makes you wonder. It makes you wonder how one dude supposedly snorting all day with his buddy, why nothing happened to him? So he had a little better tolerance, or he could have put some more pure out there. We don't know. It could have even been fentanyl. He put something there that poisoned Lynn. And that boy, what is his name? Brian Trimble, because they tried to charge his ass. He got off. And that tells you that it wasn't just him. It was that Reagan don't do drug shit. Just say no shit. That was a hit on Len Bias. And again, when I mention Len Bias, I mention Don Rogers every time. Don Rogers died the very next week at his bachelor party, snorting cocaine. Look up Don Rogers. Drove his brother crazy. His brother played with the Lions, first round pick, and his brother tried to kill himself a couple times. Can't remember his brother's name other than he played for the Lions. So, hey, daddy sounds like my cousins. Another with the ring. How do you think LeBron will win another ring? I think the league would like him to win another ring. I was wrong about the when I looked up, I was talking about the ratings. It was the ratings. I read it. The NBA had killed. It was the ratings from years ago. So I'm still trying to look up the ratings from this series to try to see how they did. On a 30 for 30, admitted to giving Bias the raw fish scale. Yeah, he did. But he said he took some himself too, though. He said he took some himself. He said he said what he said was, he said that that he bought an ounce and they went back to Maryland's campus and they had 3 or 4 of them that he called was cool. So if somebody knocked on the door and didn't snort or hadn't snorted with them before, they would put it up. That's what his testimony. Even his testimony in court, if you read the book. But the book gives 2 scenarios. I don't think the scenario smoking crack is reliable. You just didn't see young dudes like that smoking crack back in the 80s. It just, not basketball players, not college. But he talks about that they did it all day. That they did it all day. And so nothing happened to him. And then he's like, he's got to mention Len Bias's name on the 911 call. It's Len Bias, and somebody has to do something. You did something. I mean, John Belushi bought the dope, but he gave it to a person to shoot it in his veins because he couldn't shoot it. And that person wasn't charged either. And I've told you the story of my neighbors. They put in prison the person that sold them the dope with the fentanyl in it, but they wanted to charge her ass. Oh, it's like with Eazy, how he got AIDS, but his wife didn't. How he got such a short period of time. Lazy Bone brought it down on Jamie Foxx radio show. You can say the same thing about Magic. How his wife pregnant and she ain't get it. So that told you what Magic went through wasn't believable. But Magic had to pay the price still. Magic sold condoms. That's all AIDS was about, is to sell condoms. Like women from 40 to 47, that's in their mind that they should only have sex with condoms. That it's going to save them from all this shit. My ex-wife is still like that. She's like, where's your condom? She's 47 years old. We got 3 children together. Obviously, we didn't use them when she got pregnant. She can't get pregnant anymore. So what are we using them for? It's a mental thing. It's a mental thing. And people do still have sex after they're 60. You know that, don't you? It ain't just for young people. I know women in their 80s still have sex. Now, I'm not having sex with them, but I still know women in their 80s. Sex never stops. Just remember, man, you may not be able to, you may be able to get it up, but you might not be able to get it in. That's a Cheech and Chong joke. Well, let me read the divination. I've been running my mouth for an hour, a couple hours damn near. 13 platoons, 0 cartoons, 8 tunes, 11 uno, and we are on 13 kin. See how 13 keeps popping up? On this card image, we see the reed as Mother Earth protecting the human being. She is dressed as a quasar bird to represent the beauty of nature. And on top, we see the reed has been used to build a ceremonial arrow. The reed is a plant that starts its life being small and fragile, but later becomes strong and a long pole. Even though in the initial stage the reed may seem weak, the potency of igniting fire is always there. It will grow and become stronger and eventually will provide light through burning. The other source of reed strength comes from its flexibility. If the reed is too rigid, strong winds will break it. Your life can be seen much like the reeds at the beginning or even at this moment of your life, which is the beginning of what you have left to live. You get that? At this moment of your life, which is the beginning of what you have left to live, you may not seem too strong, but your inner fire is there waiting for you to release it. The reed card is inviting you to visualize the situations you are going through as facing the strength of the wind. If you are too rigid in your approach, you can break, meaning no good will come from the situation. In the Mayan, the odor, ebb. It is reed or ebb. Human vessel is penetration of higher minds. Nope, I'm sorry, Ben. It's this one, Ben. And Ben and from the east, excuse me. The energy going into tomorrow is from the east. I read what I did today. Skywalker, pillars of heaven and earth, aspirations for uniting heaven and earth, principle of growth of the higher mind. And I want to say this as a practice. I tell you guys, since I've done directional, the way I do my prayers, where I face the given directional, the change has been amazing. My awareness has just grown beyond even my expectations. And I've really opened up something that is just really amazing. And it's been there all the time. And so now that I practice it, it seems like all these abilities are just enhanced. Now the She Legit, I'll say, is good as well, but everything else seems to be enhanced, definitely. So wanted to put that out there. Uh, so that's kind of what I've been going through. So it's never, the growing never stops. You can always grow. You can always push forward. So what do they say? Just when you figure everything out, you get all the answers, they change the questions. You figure it out, and then they change the questions on you. And that's kind of life. She Legit. Oh, She Legit has. I'll tell you, like, this is what She Legit does. And this is the one benefit I see. Clarity definitely helps. You're only supposed to take just a little spoonful daily. But like, it really is like this. Say in your awareness, you right here. Say like when you go into your awareness, you just get right here. Like everything is going on, all the creations, all the fractals, but they only right here. She Legit is like you seeing down the street. I mean, it opens that much more of awareness when you meditate. When you meditate, so Bitcoined it, top level diamond for sale. it just opens it all up. Now, as I talk about the hallway, say your hallway only got 10 doors. When you take She Legit, it got about 50 doors. And so all that comes because as you go deeper in, it like you only say right now, you're only seeing 10 doors. You start taking this stuff, you'll start seeing 50 doors. I mean, it really grows that much. Really will help you push through. So, and I've noticed the clarity of dreams. The clarity of dreams has even come through. The clarity of dreams. So, 228 came in here. D228. I'm sorry if I didn't say what's happening. Oh, Lorenzo. It's just Lorenzo. Yeah, it's only just Lorenzo. So just giving that little bit of advice. But yeah, it's a really good. It's bitter. I tried Creighton. I didn't try much. My brother has some, and it's not. She Legit is way bitter. Plus, I like bitter. You know, I like 100% chocolate. I don't like it. This time I bought my friend. She picked up. She didn't pick up 100%. She picked up the 50%. It don't even taste like it's milk chocolate. Even 55% cocoa is like milk chocolate to me. I just like the bitter. I like the real chocolate. There's a lot more benefit from the real chocolate than the lower percent. American doesn't really eat chocolate. We eat milk chocolate. But, you know, chocolate was also founded and was used as a currency. If y'all didn't know that, chocolate was once used as a currency in the Americas. So you had some chocolate beans and you hustling, trying to buy some shit up, you in South America. You had that cocoa. They was like, hey, what you want for it? What you want to barter for it? I'll tell you what, I ran a statistic. Now, this is something they don't get out, but I read this. So, you know, when Columbus came to America, they didn't really find a whole lot of gold in Haiti. They found more in what would be considered Puerto Rico. They found most of the gold in Puerto Rico. And then it dried up. But when they went into Peru and went into those part of the Americas, they said that Cortez found 500 tons of gold. So do you see how much wealth they took out of the Americas? That's what I read today. It was something like 500 tons worth of gold. I didn't know. I had never come across that it was that significant amount of gold that they took out of South America. So that's significant. That's wealth that these people, we didn't even look at it like that. You know, but they found people that could use it. In Peru, there were people that metallurgists, I think that's what they call, that they could work with the metals. So when they try to tell you that the South Americans didn't work with a metal, tell them about Peru and those areas in the Andes where it was a lot of gold, where it was people used to smelting gold, histories of using this stuff, and how much they took out of the Americas, and how much shit. A lot of that gold probably still is in the motherfucking Vatican. So So a lot of wealth. Again, all like when I showed the John Wick, all them heads is probably somewhere that was found in the Americas. All them crystal balls. They really tried to take this stuff and use it. John D ended up with a lot of this stuff. And then he had a dude named Kelly that could fake it until they found somebody that could really tap into this stuff. As I said, the government can go into the ethers. So don't forget that. You want to have your space protected because they can pop up in that shit. Like I've said, this witch I was fucking with on Facebook, calling her phony and all this shit, saying spirituality ain't about money. And she tried to attack me. And actually, she pulled me out and tried to get me to marry her ass. And my lower self was about like going for it. Pulled me out of my protective zone, and because it's like, come over here, you can marry me. So I go out of my protective zone and I'm bowing to her, putting the ring on her. And then my higher self was like, fuck this chick. It came back in, she disappeared. She sent some goons the next day, and I love the blast of what is that shit? The Iron Man blast. Yeah, you can have that kind of power too. They fuck with you. You can blast their ass across the screen like video games. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Like one of my friends said she didn't want to deal with me anymore because the other chick on Facebook where I said she talked that bullshit, so I remote viewed where that chick was, and I'm throwing arrows in her back, energy arrows. She said that upset her. I'm like, it ain't got nothing to do with you. What's that got to do with you? And this is the funny thing. I was dating these two chicks at the same time. Met them both at the same time, dating them both. I'm like, I'm going to kind of hang with both of them to see what happens. One chick, we kick it for a month. I'm spending the night at her house. This other chick, 6 months, I got to pay money to see this chick. So it got to a point where I'm like, just meet me at the park or something. Like, I'm tired of spending money, chick. She tell me her children was gone. My daughter would be gone. Chick never invited me to her house. So I think she was married or something. So that's what it sounds like. But it don't mean nothing. But I was like, I'm dating these two chicks and the difference the way two acted. And I was kind of glad I didn't push the other chick to the curb. Like, yeah, I'm keeping her too. The pimping never goes away. Shit. My great uncle was in his 80s and he had a 20-year-old woman pushing him around in his wheelchair. That is the life. That is the life. My brother broke it down beautifully. My brother was saying that, an older man and a younger woman is kind of vampirism. In a way, he's right, because you are kind of getting that youthful energy around you. Now, she's getting the elder energy, but you're also getting that youthful energy because it's a give and take. But that is partially why older dudes want younger women. Now, I don't like anybody I can't talk to. If I can't talk to you, what the fuck am I around you for? Young, old, no matter what. And if we can't really have common likes, now, could I meet a younger woman like sports? Sure, I could. But it would be so many other things that would just not balance. Not balance. I mean, I'm a romantic. And younger women ain't used to being truly being romanced. It's like people from Detroit, women don't open their doors in cars. And people from Detroit notice women don't open their own door. A man always would walk around and open doors. That's how I am. Like none of my women would ever open doors. Because I'd always walk around and open their car door. They'd just sit there. Take off their seatbelt and they would just sit there. And that is a very Detroit, that's a very Michigan thing. I know I started going with girls, women around the country, and they wasn't used to that. That's very much a Detroit thing. Women don't expect to open the door. I mean, the women I was with that grew up like that, they knew. But as the women was with me, they knew. They didn't, they waited. They waited for me to come around and open the door. I mean, how many people see the woman? How many people, you stand there until the woman sit down and you help her sit down. You push the seat in for her. I think the car thing was always pimpier, and that's definitely a Michigan thing. And it's funny, like you'd watch them, and I see people watch us. Because like I would stop the car and get out, and the people would kind of look why she didn't get out the car, and I'd walk around and open the door for her, and she had no thing of it. Like we had been together so long, there was no thing of her opening the door. She already knew. Even the children, when they was younger, they always noticed that, and they started doing it when they started driving with their mama. Because they saw a real man. Yeah, you're right. That was a great breakdown. Exactly. Detroit players, there you go. I mean, it's just a mindset. But yeah, my brother put it down. That's right. It is a type of vampirism. He's right. But it's a give and take energies. The wisdom of an old person. And this is the thing, like the society is so sexual. How long is sex? It's like the beautiful thing is laying in bed with somebody all night, where the energy's still going to react. It's like you laying there with somebody, the energy's like if everything in the passion flows good and you kind of digging each other, when you lay there together, the energies react all night. That is a strong thing. That's a strong energy that you get. And I don't think people respect that as much as they should. Even like eating dinner with somebody. Like one thing I did with my family, even my daughter, I still do this, even though this is her spot when she's here. She watches this damn thing. But it's like when my boys grew up, we always had dinner together. Like every night, that was one thing. Even when I put their mama out, I would make them sit down for breakfast. We would all eat together. And then we had dinner. We all sat down together. So my 3-4 boys that was around me, that's how they always grew up. They always grew up where we sat down for dinner at least once every day. That was something that's how I was raised. That was of all my habits. That's one of my habits. Just a picture. My son was saying that I'd never bought him cakes. We always made cakes and we started shooting pictures at his ass. But in that picture is him and his current girlfriend. I think it was his 18th or 19th birthday. And then in the back is my 9-year-old. Well, she's about to be 10 in a couple of weeks. Is my 10-year-old daughter. She's in the high chair. So the three of them are in the picture. But that's the table. Before we took the picture, all of us were sitting around the table eating. And now just my 18-year-old's kind of in and out like he went to his mom's. He lives here, though, with me, basically. Well, he lives out in my garage for the summer. But my ex was like that to the point he even opened doors and wait for the strangers too. He was kind of an anal, more kind though. Yeah, that's I can't say my dad practiced it. I didn't get that from my dad. I got that from, just older dudes I kicked it with. I got that from them. I ain't really get that from my father. It was just I got that from players I watched. I was like, that is some gangster shit. I remember the first time seeing this little boy, I was like, that was some gangster shit. The dude, pimping shit to open the door. But I liked the way she was just like, patient. And that's how women be. They be patient. They just sit there, wait for the door to open. So that was some cool shit that I used to like. I was like, because a lot of people didn't do it. Such a rush now. And that's just a little way of being romantic. Don't hurt you. Don't hurt her. But it's just a way to connect, Like, when they have chauffeured cars, the driver come out and open the doors when he chauffeurs. Well, it's just making your spouse feel like a queen, feel special. It's something that nobody else does. That's how I always looked at it. My dad's that way with his kids. My brother had to do that with his kids. Probably now because they're a little older, but they did that when they was children. Yeah. They sat around. It's funny. It became a thing where they all picked on my son that's 20. It was kind of like jump on him, and I kind of had to defend him. But we just talking stuff. We're all together. But it made him quick-witted too, because he just saying stuff back. It made him quick-witted because they was always messing with him. But it was just, even my little boys, we'd all sit and have breakfast. Most of the time I was gone and went to work. But they would sit there. If I was off or something or work during the week or whatever, I sat down in the morning with them. And then Saturdays was pancake days. We'd eat pancakes. I've never been a big bacon and sausage person, but sometimes. But we just stopped that till recently. My waffle maker just gave out. But yeah, me and my daughter sit at this table. We'll sit at this table and eat. So that's just that was a good fat family gathering. That's what I liked. It was a great family gathering, a way to connect. It made the family connect. If you feel that. And we just such a rush. And we had rushes where cook quick, games to go to, games to follow. Shit, have to go buy food somewhere. We all eating in the van or we all eating in the truck because we going to a game. The game is far away. Yeah, I mean that happened. But most nights was just quiet nights with me and the family. So, well, guys, I guess I'm gonna call this a night for me. I've been going on for 2 hours and 25 minutes. That's probably long enough. So I just want to, I do give time walking information out, so I'll give this out. Moral: it all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland. They knew that they had exact number of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But the civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles in the great serpent. And as the Mayans said, I am another yourself. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I've been your host. A Wind is Timeless. Till we meet again. Thank you, everyone.